So Georgia is trying to bounce back from what went down at the end of last season, and with Carson Beck announcing that he is going to be headed to Miami, there are a lot of questions about the quarterback room. But does there need to be? That is the question. Because Gunner Stockton may very well be up to the task and ready to step up and lead this team into a new era. After a season that ended on a sour note with injuries and inconsistency from Beck, Stockton's arrival isn't just a change of guard, it's a full-on shift in the narrative of Georgia's offense. He's only had a handful of tough quarters against powerhouses like Texas and Notre Dame, but sometimes all it does take is that raw, unpolished grit to ignite a turnaround. Sure, his resume might not scream future NFL superstar or anything like that just yet, but he does bring that authentic, relentless drive that Georgia fans know all too well. And isn't that what matters most when every snap counts in the SEC? In this video, I want to talk about everything going on with the Georgia Bulldogs now that we are in the dog days of the offseason. See what I did there? Because after the Super Bowl ends, it really does kind of suck to have no football, but that's why I'm here. I want to bring you all the news and talk about everything going on with this team. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so let's talk about the quarterback room as a whole. With Carson Beck's departure, there's been plenty of chatter and a few raised eyebrows, some saying the room looks a little thin, while others argue that having competition is exactly what the program needs, and that is definitely more the side I am on. I think competition always creates the best play on the field. But honestly, the real debate isn't whether the room is deep, it's whether it needs to be. If you ask me, the pressure is on for Gunner Stockton to prove himself. And the beauty of this situation is that a competitive environment can only sharpen the tools of every guy in the room. I mean, that's literally a famous quote. It's in the Bible. Iron sharpens iron. So even if another contender with a live arm is lurking in the shadows, that internal rivalry and intense competition might be exactly what forces each quarterback to elevate his game when it matters most. The raw athleticism and the try-hard mentality that Stockton brings to the table might not come with all the polish of a first-round draft pick like I mentioned, but it does sure come with heart. And sometimes that's all you need to turn things around when you're playing in the big leagues. Moving down the field, the running game is another area where the Bulldogs are looking to flip the script on last season's struggles. Obviously, you can't just blame the running backs. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, including the offensive line, but Nate Frazier is emerging as a force who could redefine what it means to hit the ground running for Georgia. This guy has got the speed, vision, and power to make defenders look like they're standing still. I've seen him break away from defenders like a bolt of lightning, and it's that kind of explosive play that can turn a routine drive into a highlight reel moment. But Frazier isn't just about raw speed, he's got the ability to break tackles, find running lanes, and even catch passes out of the backfield when the play calls for it. Of course, no offense is complete without a dynamic receiving core, and that's where Branch comes into play. Arriving as a transfer with a reputation for speed and agility, Branch immediately injects a new dimension into the Bulldogs' passing game. He's not just fast, he's elusive, capable of turning a well-routed play into a breakaway sprint down the sideline. His ability to stretch the field forces opposing defenses to account for him pretty much every single time, which in turn creates more opportunities for Stockton and Frazier to work together. When you combine Branch's explosive playmaking with an offense that's designed to exploit mismatches, you get a recipe for big plays and a lot of points on the board. And let's be honest, in a conference as tough as the SEC, having that extra threat can be the difference between a good season and a memorable one. But the reality of things is that the offensive story isn't just about skill positions. It's also about the foundation that holds it all together. Kirby Smart and his staff know that a dynamic offense can only be as good as its protection. And there's been plenty of talk about improving the offensive line. Sure, last season's performance left some unanswered questions about consistency and protection, but there's a palpable sense of optimism that this year the line will be tougher and more cohesive. With an offensive system that demands both aggressive play and smart decision making, every piece from the linemen to playmakers has to work in harmony. And if the line can sort of get its act together, it won't just give Stockton more time to work his magic, but it will also open up lanes for Frazier and create opportunities for Branch to shine as well. It's that kind of holistic improvement that can elevate a team from being good on paper to being a true contender. And then on the other side of things, there's also a lot of chatter about the defense, and there's real potential that we see a resurgence on that side of the ball. Last season, the Bulldogs defense was adequate at best, but there's growing confidence that this year it can return to its old form and maybe even exceed whatever the expectations are. Veteran leaders like Christian Miller are expected to guide the unit, while younger guys like Xavier McLeod and a few others are poised to step into bigger roles. There's also been some exciting buzz about emerging standouts like Justin Williams, whose instinct and playmaking ability could make him a key disruptor in the backfield. Georgia's defensive philosophy has always been about physicality and aggression, and in a league where every play is a battle, having a defense that can create turnovers and make crucial stops is priceless. And you don't need me to say that, that's just basic football knowledge. And I'm sorry for kind of being so basic in this video, but really, it's hard to get too deep into things so early into the offseason because there still is a lot that has to unfold and a lot that has to happen. What truly could set 2025 apart is the underlying culture that drives every player and coach in this program. Georgia football has always been more than just the X's and O's. It's about a legacy of perseverance and an unwavering commitment to excellence. Even in the face of adversity, the Bulldogs have a way of rallying, of coming together to overcome obstacles that seem insurmountable. I mean, that's how they won back-to-back championships, and that spirit is evident not only in the locker room, but also in the way that you fans pack the stands week in and week out, and in every post-game interview where players talk about the will to win. It's that same fire, that same underlying determination that will propel this team forward even when the odds are stacked against them, no matter what the personnel is. And that all starts at the top, and it all starts with Kirby Smart. But anyways, enough of all that. Let's take a look at the schedule that Georgia will be dealing with in 2025. The first two games of the year are pretty easy. They'll kind of serve as scrimmages. They're just going to prepare this team for what's to come, and it's going to give Kirby Smart an initial look at his roster. They start off against Marshall and Austin Peay. But then in week 3, the real stuff starts when they go on the road to Tennessee, and then following that game, it's at home against Alabama. I mean, Tennessee and Alabama back-to-back weeks, that is a gauntlet, especially when you consider that the following week is Kentucky, which is always a tough game. Georgia usually wins, but still, Kentucky is a team that is kind of due to pull off an upset. And then you got Auburn on the road, and then it's Ole Miss, and then it's Florida. But crazy enough, even after that, there still is 2 very tough games ahead, at Mississippi State and then against Texas. The final 2 games of the year are against Charlotte and Georgia Tech, but that is an 8-game straight gauntlet with really no room to breathe. Luckily now, with the playoff format change, there's room to make mistakes, but still, that is just 8 straight games of punches being thrown at this team left and right. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond when they get down, because obviously at some point they're going to lose. I don't think Georgia's going to go undefeated with that gauntlet of a schedule, but let me know what you guys think this team is going to do in terms of record in the comments below. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you'd like to see next. Until then, I will see you all later.